sunshine, blue skies, marine clouds. Just a perfect day to go outside and relax. That's your forecast. We'll be right back.
Yeah, sunny days, sunny days, sunny days. No clouds in the sky, but again, away feels like it's been a...
Welcome back to another episode of The Social Beaches. My name's Kelly Bowling.
I'm Carolyn Smith.
And we're with the Coastal Estate Team. We sell real estate on the Space Coast and down into Indian River County. So if you have any real estate questions for us, we'd love to answer them. You can message us on whatever platform you're watching, like leave a comment, send us a DM. You can also call or text us at 321-422-2160 or send us an email, hello@coastalestateteam.com. So today we are going to talk about car insurance.
Fun.
I have a really not fun story. I said we might need to change this to the Two Angry White Women podcast.
That's what we are today. The two angry white
my
women.
goodness.
We're mad about insurance.
Yes,
I'm not taking it anymore.
You know, I'm almost 45. I'll be 45 this summer. A 45-year-old woman, and
She's a baby.
I'm a grown woman, and I've had the same company forever and ever. Mm-hmm. I mean, I started driving with this company, State Farm. I'm gonna call them out. Like a good neighbor, they are not there when you need them. But
I'm sorry.
I got a letter in the mail, so it's been a little over a week ago on a Friday, and I was so confused reading it because it was like listing my husband's truck at the top. That was the one that was referenced. Yeah. And then it had referenced a claim number for a vehicle that my son drives for Jacob, and a claim that was associated with him from an accident that was over 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And a car that was totaled. And then it also listed 3 other claims, but it didn't list the vehicle or who they were associated with. And it just said, we've determined that you are too high risk and we will not be renewing your policy.
Which when you say it like what you just said, you could say, okay, well, they had a lot of things, but now you have to explain what those things are.
So there was 3 other things below his accident, or maybe it was 4 actually, 4 things. And I called him like, what are these claims? I don't have claims. Yeah. What are they talking about? I only have the accident. That's it. And he was also not at fault for that, by the way.
That's important. I think that's super important to know. Like, he was in an accident, but he was not given a ticket. He was not at fault. The other party was at fault.
Yes, in fact, they subrogated our deductible back for us, and I got that check over a year ago for that because that takes a while. So definitely not at fault for that. And when I called to find out, like, what does this mean? You know, I've never gotten anything like this before, and she was going over those claims. Well, there was 2 chips in glass for windshields, which I paid to have like a 0 deductible for those, like. I'm like, it's great to have the windshield coverage. You know, we live where there's an interstate, and well, even if you're not on the interstate, it can happen.
In Florida, it's Florida law that the insurance companies have to cover windshield replacement. So they have to cover them as it's Florida law.
Didn't know that.
It's not the law in every state, but it's Florida law.
So
repair or replacement.
There's that. 2 chips. One was a full replacement on my daughter's car, which was over a year ago. And these were all listed dates that everything was more than a year ago. So there's been 2 renewals since then.
Yeah.
Some of them were older than that. And then one was it said towing. And I'm like, we've never, other than Jacob's car got towed off the site, but they weren't citing that one. And I'm like, towing. She's like, maybe it was roadside assistance. I'm like, oh, yeah, she locked her keys in her car. I paid extra for that because you don't have to have that.
And when you think about how much you pay every single month as for your roadside assistance, you used it once.
$800 a month, okay, is what I was paying for 4 vehicles, which I guess is not above our average, so whatever.
The average in Florida, right?
Yeah, the average in Florida.
$29.17.
Or $243 a month.
Yes, $240.
So,
and I'm paying for 4 cars. Yes, I'm paying more than that. I'm not paying more than that, but I'm paying more than you were paying. Yes. I'm paying just over $1,000 a month.
Right.
Well, and with no accidents or anything.
Yeah, but you have high coverage too. Yes. So you know you're very well insured, which is great. So I was paying a lot of money, and definitely more than they ever paid. I was not nice to the poor girl on the phone. I will admit that. I am sure I actually cussed at her. And I feel a little bad about that. But I did talk to her the following Monday, and I apologized. I said, I have calmed down, and I am sorry. I know that it's not your fault.
Yeah, well,
it's not on her. But I was just livid. So I was like, well, guess who's not getting $1 more of my money?
Yeah, right.
And so I went on the mission of trying to locate a policy for all of us. And I ended up paying in full for 6 months because you got a hefty discount to do that. It was like you saved over almost $900 to do that.
Oh, my gosh.
Which is, they want your money now. But it's still paying more than what I was paying. So here's the funny part. So I was like, yes, they're not getting $1 more of my money.
Yeah.
Screw them. I'm paying right now. And then Jacob comes over. He goes, wait, you already did that? And I'm like, yeah. He goes, why didn't you just keep it till it expired and save the money? And I was like, okay, you have a point, but oh well, it's done now. Sometimes your kid's smarter than you.
Out of the mouth of children.
You know?
Yeah.
So
What are you gonna do?
I was like, okay, great, it's done. I've got my new policies. I'm set. I've moved on. And then Saturday, this past weekend, I got an email that said, oh, your State Farm billing plan is for $200 and whatever dollars. I'm like, wait, no, we're done with those people. Why? So I go online and I look, and they've canceled 3 of the 4 policies. But the one that they sent me the letter about for my husband's truck, not canceled. So you can't call anybody on the weekend. Good luck to you. But you could use a chat. So I'm doing the chat, and she was like, oh, I see here there's an open claim on that. And I'm like, no, definitely no open claims. And so I'm like, can you give me the claim number? So I have that whole list of claims that they sent me. I'm like, his windshield chip's done, been closed out. It's done. It's like a year and a half old. And she gives me the one from Jacob's accident.
Oh, gosh.
And I'm like, well, that was over 2 years ago. Why is that still
And it's
open?
on the wrong car.
It's on the wrong car. When that car was totaled, we flipped the policy to his new car, which is not my husband's truck. It's his Mustang.
Yeah.
And so this makes no sense. But the chat people, they can't see any of that, and they can't help you with any of that. So she was like, call your agent on Monday. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to explode. So I did. I called them today. I talked to a rep, and he was like, this is odd. He goes, let me call the claims rep and see what's going on. And as it turns out, he left me a message. I saw.
Oh, he did?
He said they were waiting for my attorney's office to make sure there was nothing else that they needed, but that it will be closed out and they can cancel it. And I'm like, okay.
Oh, well, that's good.
I was going to be darned if you were getting another $1 of my money.
After this happened, I was like, maybe I should check and see if I can get lower insurance. And I will say, you say I have very good coverage. I did have amazing coverage.
Yeah.
And as these rates have been going up,
I've
been
them.
reducing. Now I'm not at the minimum, but I've reduced at least twice, and I'm not anywhere near I was before the rates started going up at the much higher coverage.
Oh yeah.
So then I said, well, Costco has insurance, so I will go on Costco.com and I will get them to quote my insurance. Costco is no longer insuring cars in Florida.
Yes. You know who else? I think I sent it to you.
Who?
Travelers is pulled out of car insurance writing in Florida. USAA, they wouldn't quote me the last time I was shopping, which was over a year ago, because same reason. They said they weren't writing new policies in Florida. So maybe if existing you can keep, but they're not writing new policies. And I have had USA before for a short period of time.
Yeah.
And they got really expensive really fast. And I'm like, something's going on there.
I've heard that about USAA. Well, the thing is that they say one of the reasons that insurance in Florida is that we're either the number 3 most expensive or number 4, depending on which article you look at. But one of the reasons is so many uninsured drivers. Well, when you keep raising the rates,
They can't afford it.
they can't afford it, and
But
then
we
they're
gotta
still
go
driving.
places.
So
Yes.
now what's happening is you've got more uninsured drivers, which is then driving the rates up, which is causing more uninsured. I'm like, this is nutty. Like,
It is
something needs
crazy.
to be done. Does it really cost that? And I understand. Cars are expensive. It's expensive when there's claims and everything else. But like in your case, you have an accident that he didn't cause. Her son did not
Which
cause
is shocking,
the
I
accident.
know, that a teenager was not the one at fault.
But he was not at fault. The police, cited the other driver. The insurance company, your insurance company, went after the other insurance company and fully recovered, including the deductible, fully recovered. So
which they returned to me. It took a while to get that last little $250, but and now my deductibles are way high. I'm like, yeah, $1,000, whatever, that's fine. We don't need roadside. We don't need, and you can. I always get confused. The non-stacking or the I think it's non-stacking.
I don't even understand that. It's been
Whatever the
explained to me
cheaper version
27,000
is.
times. I'm like, stacking, non-stacking.
Yeah, I just got the cheaper version, and then I had a rep previously when I was trying to, they were like, oh, your bill's going up to over $1,000 a month. I'm like, whoa, let's fix some stuff. Let's tweak some things here so I could get it back down to like $800 a month.
Yeah.
And somebody explained to me that one of the coverages that I thought was one thing was really something else, and I was like, oh, well, screw that. I don't need that. Just get rid of that. I don't need the high coverage for that.
It's so confusing. Like, I feel like the insurance is confusing, and we're,
And we don't know.
Yeah, but
We don't know.
it shouldn't be confusing. Like, what is it, stacking, non-stacking? It's just dumb. And I feel like it's the opposite of what you think it is. Like when you hear
Probably, and
stacking
that's
and
why it's
non-stacking,
confusing.
it's confusing because it's the opposite.
I'm
of
sure
what
there's
you
going to
think it
be
is.
some insurance people on here commenting,
Yeah.
and explaining things
And I
to
feel
us.
bad. I mean, if you're in insurance, God bless you.
Oh
That's
my
all I
gosh.
gotta say.
How do you know all the
Like,
things?
Well, not only that, but you have got to be like, people have got to be calling every day, yelling, emails. I mean, not
Again,
just
my
for,
apologies for
not just cancels, but also like the rates
Oh my
going up
gosh.
because when you think about, so the average full coverage rate in Florida, 29, let's just round up. Let's just say $3,000 for car insurance
for 1 year.
for 1 year. So what do you have to earn pre-tax? You got to earn before taxes how much? What, $5,000? So $5,000 of your salary to go pay for that's one car.
So here it says that full coverage rates in the Sunshine State represented 4.3% of the state's median household income in 2023, which was at the time $68,181, which is less than the U.S. average of $76,967. So it's taking up a big percentage
Yes,
of
income.
your income.
Yeah.
When we don't make as much as the rest of the United States here,
Yeah.
or the U.S. average.
It's crazy.
But like you talked about, like what's causing it. It's the
Yes.
uninsured motorists. That's one thing. Our weather is another. I see all the time down in Miami and South
Yes.
Florida when they have the big downpours and it floods. In fact, this happened to my niece. She was in Miami for the weekend and they had a big downpour.
Oh,
Her car was
really?
parked. It got flooded. She's at a car wash trying to suck the water out of the car. She didn't file a claim, but hurricanes, tornadoes, flooding.
And the most recent, like there was just big floods.
Yes.
But there were also floods. Like I'm watching the news everywhere and I'm like, there's floods
In the
everywhere.
Midwest
Yes.
and-
The
yeah.
Midwest is having floods. Texas is having huge floods. They're inland Texas, not
Right.
coastal Texas,
Yeah.
inland Texas, all over. There's tornadoes like crazy. I'm like, is
Yeah.
Florida really that much worse than the rest of the country? Is it?
I don't know. And they're like,
wonder.
there's also rampant insurance fraud. And I'm like, okay, like how are you defrauding insurance? Because I feel like they send an adjuster out and like, are people saying, oh, I totaled my car and nobody's checking on it? Like I'm confused how you can defraud the insurance.
I don't know.
So I don't
And
know
then
about
maybe the
that.
insurance company needs. You know what we should have looked up? We should have looked up what is the profit. We should have looked that up.
The profit
What is
margin?
the profit? How much are insurance companies making per year? These big insurance companies, how much are they? What are their reported profit numbers for like 2023? I'd be interested to
That
know.
would be interesting.
And what
wouldn't
are
it?
their CEOs and stuff like that make? Not that they shouldn't earn money, not that they aren't entitled to their big salaries or whatever, but
Right.
is there maybe something that is happening there? Like they're having to make
interesting.
more profit and their profit numbers are really big and they're just saying that it's these things? Because I'm like,
It's possible.
is it really worse than it was 10 years ago? Is there more insurance fraud than there was 10 years ago? Are there bigger weather events? I mean,
Well, the weather events is global warming. I
Yes.
feel like it's probably for sure a
yes,
thing.
but there were some bad weather events in the last 20 years.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I thought this
Hurricane
list was
Andrew, anyone?
right. I thought this list was interesting. I would
Yeah.
like to see the top 10 lowest also, but it's
Yeah.
which states pay the highest. So
Yeah.
we're number 3 on this list.
Yeah.
New York is number 1, and
Why
Nevada.
is Nevada number 2?
I don't know. It's interesting.
That's weird.
But then I thought it was really interesting that the DMV made the list in all 3 areas. So, V is not on there. Delaware, Maryland, and Washington, D.C. are also on this list, which I find interesting because I don't remember my rates being super high when I lived in Maryland.
Probably wasn't when you lived in Maryland.
But things change, obviously. Louisiana, I would expect that. Hurricanes, issues there. Michigan and Rhode Island.
Louisiana is low. I mean,
Yes.
isn't the whole like state?
Yeah.
I mean,
South Carolina, I
correct
can
me
understand.
if
They
I'm
have low country there.
Yeah.
Coastal, makes sense.
Yeah.
Michigan, though? Is it because of the snow?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Rhode Island, same
Yeah.
thing. Coastal.
Very
I don't know.
interesting. Rhode Island's so
It is.
tiny.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's...
I don't know.
There's another piece of this article that addresses whether we're going to repeal the no-fault car insurance because we're a no-fault state,
Yeah.
which was super confusing to me when I had my first
It's still
accident here.
confusing to me.
I
No
really...
fault. Someone's at fault, man.
Yeah, they're saying one
If
of
it's
the
me, then it's
one of the
me.
biggest drivers of car insurance rates is the high level of frivolous lawsuits and insurance fraud. And how many billboards do you see?
Yes.
Dan Newland got me $1 billion.
Nothing against Dan Newland.
No, it's just,
Yes.
it's their advertising. And then I think Alexander Shinara is like in the Panhandle, and you'll see all his stuff over there. So wherever you're at, like there's somebody, Morgan & Morgan, right?
Yes.
It's like, oh, if I get in an accident, immediately lawyer up.
Yeah.
And I always do, but those payouts are not real. Like maybe they are, like I think somebody had to die, but in general, you're suing your own insurance company.
Yeah.
That's where it starts. And then they have to go after the others.
I mean, this is a home insurance problem too, and everything else. So there has to be some sort of, but I feel like if the insurance companies are saying, well, it's insurance fraud, maybe the insurance companies need to take some of that profit and hire some insurance fraud investigators, right?
Yeah.
Who go out and make sure, like you said, come out and look at your car. If you say your car is totaled, is someone coming out to look at it? Are they doing whatever they need to do? Are they doing whatever they need to do to make sure that they are paying out the least that they can pay out? Right. Because otherwise, look what they're doing to us.
Yeah, it's
I don't know.
so much.
There's 4 people in our household with cars, 2 kids in college, and you can say, oh, well, they should be working and paying for their own car insurance. Well, they also have car payments. Mm-hmm. They also have college costs. They have housing costs. They have food. They have all the things. I mean, people can't afford it when you get out of college and you get your first job.
Yeah. Some people had said the same thing. Why don't your kids just have their own policies? Well, I own those cars, so I need to make sure they're actually insured in case something happens. And the other thing is like, the people who are, as far as the premiums going up, what are you doing about it?
Yeah.
They said more than 45% of drivers did nothing. They were like, oh, well, it is what it is, which I will admit, I did that for a while. And then it got to a point, I'm like, okay, something has to change here.
Yeah.
Many of the rest just increased deductibles, which is something you can do. Lowered your coverage limits, done that also. Taken drivers off, which is, I can't do that. They have to drive. Or they just dropped full coverage. Like, I guess if you own your car, which we do not, all of ours are currently in financing various stages of, or I lease mine. And
you
then
still have to have insurance. Doesn't Florida require you to have insurance? They do.
It's a law, but it says here, of the drivers, 10.29% switched insurers. Okay.
Yeah.
And then just under 3% simply canceled all car insurance.
Right.
Which is a low number.
Which is the uninsured driver thing.
Yes.
Which is, it's against the law, I believe. Pretty darn sure that you're not supposed to be driving without car insurance.
You really should not be. It's a citable offense. It is, like, without
uninsured motorist. It's
and
one
I think,
of the coverages we have.
I'm pretty sure you can get your license suspended for that.
Driving without insurance.
I'm pretty sure that's a suspendable offense.
I feel like you're supposed to have insurance when you drive a car.
Yeah, it's a little scary. And I get, it's just like people that cancel homeowners insurance, which is not required by law to have. Because their house is paid for and they don't want to pay it.
But those people are only hurting themselves, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Like when you don't have insurance and you hit someone else, then you're leaving that person to go against their own insurance company.
With no out. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They can't go back and get money from someone else. So I don't know. It's a mess. It's a mess. Somebody fix this. Who's responsible for fixing
I don't know. Our legislators. So
yeah.
Maybe it'll hurt them in their wallets and they'll want to do something about it too. I mean, they got to drive, right? One would think.
I don't know. I'm tired of paying for car insurance. I mean, not tired of paying for it, but I'm tired of paying so much. I think like a few years ago, I was paying like $120 a month, and now I'm paying $200 and some a month. So it's doubled.
Yeah.
Per car.
Yeah, per car. Yeah, for sure. Same.
Yeah.
I think that's
it
for today. That's done with the Two Angry White Women podcast today. We'll see you next time.
Cheers.
Weather forecast today.